Across the vast and unforgiving wilderness, a people chosen by the Lord have journeyed, their sandals worn thin by 40 years of wandering. From the chains of Egypt, through the parted waters of the Red Sea, they have followed a promise, a land flowing with milk and honey, sworn to their fathers by the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Now, under the steady hand of Joshua, son of Nun, they stand at the threshold of that promise. Before them rises Jericho, a fortress of stone and defiance, its walls a towering testament to human strength, its gates locked in fear of the approaching host. Yet the Lord has whispered a plan to his servant, a strategy not of swords or siege, but of faith and obedience. Here begins a story of divine power, where walls crumble not by might, but by the will of the Almighty, a victory to be sung through generations. Now Jericho was shut up inside and outside because of the people of Israel. None went out, and none came in, a city gripped by dread, its people whispering of the miracles that trailed this wandering nation. Plagues upon Egypt, the sea cleaved in two, and a God who speaks in fire and cloud. The walls, thick and high, stand as their shield, a barrier between life and the unknown fate marching toward them.
The walls are too high, Joshua. Their gates are sealed. How will we breach this fortress?
The Lord has a plan. He has spoken to me, and this city will fall into our hands.
And the Lord said to Joshua, "See, I have given Jericho into your hand, with its king and mighty men of valor." In the quiet of the night, beneath a sky ablaze with stars, the voice of the Almighty came to his servant, not with the clash of battle plans, but with a promise wrapped in mystery, a victory unlike any the world had seen, born of trust in the one who shaped the earth.
You shall march around the city, all the men of war going around the city once. Thus shall you do for 6 days.
6 days of marching? What kind of battle is this?
7 priests shall bear 7 trumpets of ram's horns before the ark. On the 7th day, you shall march around the city 7 times, and the priests shall blow the trumpets.
So Joshua the son of Nun called the priests and said to them, "Take up the Ark of the Covenant, and let 7 priests bear 7 trumpets of ram's horns before the Ark of the Lord." The camp stirred with purpose, the air thick with the scent of dust and oil as men sharpened spears and priests polished the sacred horns. Yet beneath the bustle lingered whispers of doubt, for this was no ordinary war, and the ways of the Lord defied the wisdom of men.
We will obey, Joshua, but what if the walls do not fall?
The Lord has promised. Then the wall of the city will fall down flat, and the people shall go up, every man straight before him. Trust in his word.
And he said to the people, "Go forward, march around the city and let the armed men pass on before the ark of the Lord." So they went, a river of silent resolve flowing around the fortress, their footsteps a steady drumbeat in the desert stillness. From the walls, eyes peered down, hearts pounding with questions, for this was no army of chaos, but one bound by a purpose they could not fathom.
What madness is this? They march, but do not speak.
Do not shout. Do not let your voice be heard until the day I tell you to shout. Then you shall shout.
And Joshua rose early in the morning, and the priests took up the ark of the Lord. For 3 days they had circled the city, the rhythm of their march unbroken, the horn's low wail a haunting echo across the plains. In Jericho, fear tightened its grip, while among the Israelites, weariness bred murmurs of discontent, testing the faith that bound them to their leader and their God.
3 days of this nonsense. Are they mocking us?
How long must we endure this, Joshua? My feet ache and the enemy laughs.
Be strong. The Lord tests our faith, but he will deliver us.
Thus did Joshua, and they marched around the city once each day, returning to the camp. 6 days had passed, each circuit a step closer to the unknown, the air thick with the weight of waiting. The priests' horns sang a song of patience, the ark a beacon of hope, and in the hearts of the people, a spark of wonder began to kindle. For tomorrow, the 7th day, promised something extraordinary.
Tomorrow is the 7th day. What will the Lord do?
Tomorrow, we march 7 times. Prepare your hearts, for the Lord's power will be revealed.
On the 7th day they rose early, at the dawn of day, and marched around the city in the same manner 7 times. The sun climbed higher with each circuit, the horns grew louder, the people's steps heavier with purpose. 7 times they circled, a holy number, a rhythm ordained by the Lord himself, until the moment of truth hung like a storm ready to break over the desert sands.
7 times today their God has driven them mad.
Shout, for the Lord has given you the city.
So the people shouted, and the trumpets were blown. As soon as the people heard the sound of the trumpet, the people shouted a great shout, and the wall fell down flat. A roar of triumph mingled with the crash of stone. A miracle unveiled before their eyes. The hand of the Lord laid bare upon the earth. And they devoted all in the city to destruction, both men and women, young and old, oxen, sheep, and donkeys, with the edge of the sword. Through the breach they surged, a tide of divine judgment, the air thick with smoke and the cries of the fallen. Yet amid the chaos, a thread of mercy wove its way, a promise kept to one who dared to trust the God of Israel.
Find Rahab's house. The scarlet cord marks it. Spare her and her kin.
You've come. I trusted your spies, and now you honor your word.
But Rahab the prostitute and her father's household and all who belonged to her, Joshua saved alive, and she lives in Israel to this day. The fires of Jericho faded into embers, the dust settled over a city no more, and the people stood in awe of the God who keeps his word. From the ruins rose a new chapter, a foothold in the land of promise, sealed with a vow and a victory none could deny.
Cursed before the Lord be the man who rises up and rebuilds this city, Jericho. At the cost of his firstborn shall he lay its foundation, and at the cost of his youngest son shall he set up its gates.
The Lord has kept his promise. We stand in the land he swore to give us.
So the Lord was with Joshua, and his fame was in all the land. From the ashes of Jericho, a nation took root, their faith forged in the fire of obedience, their story a testament to the power of a God who moves mountains and fells walls with the breath of his will.